Hello everyone. This is the week number 1 lecture video for Database Systems 33,000. In this video, I am going to cover 3 items. Um, database versus database management system, database management systems pros and cons, and then types of database management systems. So in terms of database versus database management systems, or simply database systems, the distinction can be broadly made in general terms in a couple different ways. But I thought it would be helpful for you to look at this particular resource. So let me bring that up for a second. So when you click on that link, this gives you a types of database systems. And hold on, so let me bring the other one. Actually, it's this one. So this one gives you a broad description about what a database management system is, some examples, some history, some characteristics, and one way of distinguishing between database management system and flat files and users, and gives you a broad description. So that's pretty helpful. So you can read that. But in terms of simply a database, database is a collection of just the data. So it could be, as simple as a note cards, but more electronically speaking, like Excel sheets. I don't know if most people would agree that Access, Microsoft Access, is a database management system. Access users might. I don't know if a database or DBAs would consider that as a database management system. But anyway, so you could have a database, but having a database is not not very useful for more than just one person. But even for one person, it may be not as complicated, or offers as many functions as we might want it to be. But anyway, so in terms of the database management system, so if you have that, then you have not only a database, but you have a management system that allows all kinds of things, security for access, being able to perform backups and restores and recovery, and things like that, right? But it can also organize your database in such a way so that there can be different applications can use it, different users can use it, and then you can have APIs as well, right? So database management system is an add-on to a database, and is typically what is used in any enterprise systems. Some of the examples of the database management system would be Microsoft SQL Server, and then you have MySQL, and there are a whole bunch of them out there. So I'd like you to know, the general distinction between database and database management systems. In terms of the database management system advantages and challenges, although there are lots of advantages, I think it is worth noting that there are some challenges. But in terms of the advantages, as I briefly mentioned to you a moment ago, strictly speaking, in terms of data, having a management system will reduce a redundancy. In other words, your data doesn't exist more than one place, because if it exists in more than one place, then it can be out of sync, or it can cause some issues, right? And then database management system can manage different access in terms of security and the users and rules and things like that, which is very useful and necessary in enterprise systems. You can manage the backup and recovery, and you can have multiple user interface, enforce integrity constraints, so that when the updates are made or to the data, that it is made in a consistent way. There are other advantages that you may want to look at, when you do the homework, or things like that, or research online. But there are some disadvantages that everybody should be aware of. These disadvantages don't usually deter a large corporation from adopting a database management systems, but nevertheless, these are a cost or load that we need to be aware of. And the first and the foremost is the cost. It costs a lot of money to design and implement and convert the data from the previous legacy systems, provide a training for the users, establish a IT support for that, get the necessary hardware to maintain its speed and capacity, and then be able to install and maintain the software updates is a lot of money. And so small companies or individual users would probably not be using a database management systems, although there are exceptions. And then just because you install a database management system, there are other policies and organizational support that it needs. And one of them is to have a data dictionary or data governance committee to enforce a effective policy on what a particular data means, so that it is clear and consistent throughout the organizations. And there are other ones, but these are probably the most obvious ones that I can talk about. In terms of types of database management systems, there are all kinds of them out there that's available. I gave you two links here for you to take a look at them. So let me bring one of them here. I'll be right back. So this is the first link that I posted on there for you. This is a pretty good website that gives you different types of database management systems, hierarchical, network, and relational databases, and so on and so forth. And what it does is it gives you little descriptions here, and then maybe a diagram. It also talks about the advantages and disadvantages. And so this is a pretty good website to kind of go through. One that we will be using is a Microsoft SQL Server, which is a relational, belongs to a relational database because it uses SQL and the data is in a table and the tables are related with one another. And at the bottom, it gives you some examples of who or what platforms are using that. As you can see, here is the SQL Server that we'll be using. All right. So look through these, and I think it'll give you a good overview and the list of the different types of database management systems. So that's pretty much it. So what I went over with you briefly is a database versus database management systems. I talked a little bit about the pros and cons of database management systems, and then a little bit about the different types. When you are doing the homework, you will be answering some of the questions, so I left it up for you to do it on your own. But this is a overview, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to respond. Thank you, and bye for now.